Today's episode is sponsored by Dragon's Den, Games and Hobbies. You can visit them at 552 Main Street in Honesdale, PA, or call them at 570-647-4633.
The Dragon's Den, where gamers unite. Spice the owner in Honesdale under neon lights. Video games, board games, cards at every site. A haven for all, where fun takes flight. Come join the quest in this gaming paradise, where dragons roam free under endless skies. Adventure awaits with every roll of the dice. In Dragon's Den, where the magic never dies. From retro classics to the latest trend, dive into battles with allies and friends. Strategize your moves till the very end. In this realm of games, the fun never ends. Gather round for events galore, a place of joy like never before. Come join the quest in this gaming paradise, where dragons roam free under endless skies. Adventure awaits with every roll of the dice. In Dragon's Den, where the magic never dies. Unleashing the hive, metal tools will be waiting. Join us on the journey, gaming is engaging. NDT Gaming, our mission never raging. From pixels to dice, we discuss it all. The thrill of victory, the bitterness, defeats fall. Strategies, campaigns, and characters stand tall. I look for the games, both big and small. Through pixels and cards, our friendship will sprawl. Join us on the journey, gaming is engaging. NDT Gaming, our mission never raging. Malaysian. From pixels to dice, we discuss it all. The thrill of victory, the bitterest defeat fall. Strategies, campaigns, and characters stand tall.
What's going on? Welcome to another fantastic episode of NDT Gaming. It has been a little bit. Mike, how have you been recently?
Cold.
Cold? Yeah, dude. Oh my
Cold.
God. I don't want to be that old guy, but yeah, I want to move south now. Like this is bad.
Yeah,
Next
but we
week's
don't
gonna be
have
worse.
hurricanes. We don't have tornadoes. We don't have snakes. We don't have crocodiles. We don't have.
Well, I mean, we got snakes.
Wild.
We got rattlesnakes. I just never see
Yeah, but
them.
we don't have pythons and stuff.
We're not Australia, basically.
Florida,
Yeah.
whatever.
So I wanted to start out tonight by talking about what I've been doing lately in the world of gaming. So I had a visit from one of my friends that I met through Twitch, actually through gaming. My friend Lisa came up. My wife and I become real good friends with her family. So her and her son Tyler came up and we're hanging out, and I wanted to get something new. This was a few weeks ago. I wanted to get something new and try something new out. And I found this game while looking up dinosaur game. Like I was looking up Jurassic World to check out that evolution game because I'm remembering Dino Park
Gonna be
Tycoon.
amazing when that thing drops.
Which one? The new one?
That new one looks incredible.
Yes. So we'll talk about that one in a minute because that's what I found and thought it was awesome, but it's not out yet. Another game I found while looking for this, it was showing me all these dinosaur games. I found one called Path of Titans. And I remembered seeing this game on Twitch. I saw someone playing this game on Twitch a year or so ago. So I started looking at it and I'm like, I don't know if I want to get this or not. It looks pretty cool. And I'm looking at the videos. I'm like, that looks really neat. And then when I read it, it said it's an MMO. It's online. You're in lobbies with other players. You don't have a solo grind. Like there's no story to it or anything. It's just online level grinding, build up your dinosaur. I wasn't sure. Lisa egged me on. She said, just buy it. Just buy it. So I bought it. It was $30. I mean,
Buy it,
30
nerd.
bucks. What exactly? I mean, you've said that to me before, and I really should just
Tell
bite
you
the
all the
bullet
time
and
to buy it.
do it. But I bought it and I sat on it for a day or two until I actually got on and played it. I'm like, I really don't want to hate this game. I want to be so mad if I just spent $30 on a game and I hate it. So I got on and I played it. And in the first week that I had it, I think I played it 3 different days. I already had over 20 hours into it.
Easy to do.
Over 20 hours in like 3 days worth of playing this game. And all you do is pretend to be a dinosaur. It's your, and I keep saying this, like, it makes me think of my childhood, man. When I was a kid, like elementary school age, I'd be playing out in the backyard pretending that I'm a dinosaur. Like I'd run around thinking I'm a velociraptor or a T-Rex or something. And that's what this game allows you to do. Like the questing is kind of goofy and silly, but that's how you grow your dinosaur. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man? But the game's really fun, man. Like I don't know if you've seen any gameplay from it or anybody's talked about it.
I haven't really. I mean, a lot of people like around my group are doing like WoW and like ESO, that kind of stuff. I got invited to go back to play ESO, but I'm like, I got an Empire to run during the slow season. So I don't really have time, but the time should be spent, promoting the store, getting new stuff. And I mean, I have new Pokemon this weekend. I have new Magic next weekend. I have everything from Grand Archive, new what the hell is it? Warhammer Universe has just dropped their solo leveling one. Like, I don't have time to sit there and do like as much as I used to. And a lot of people are like, dude, you're going to be gaming all the time. I'm like, well, I play Store Owner. That's the,
Store Owner Simulator, man.
There is a Store Owner Simulator game now out. And people are like, are you playing it? I'm like, no, because I played in real life.
I believe it. I've seen those simulator games where you can pretend to be a grocery store worker. You could work at a car wash. And I'm like, wow. When you're on Twitch, man, and you see all the different games that are out there that these people are playing, it's absurd. Pressure washer simulator. Like
these kids are like, I'm playing Job Simulator. I'm like, why don't you go get a real job? Go make real money.
Yeah.
If
only we could have the time to play a million games, man, and be on the games all the time. It's just not possible. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in so far. What's going on? Hope you guys are having a good night. Don't be afraid to hop into chat. Let us know what games you're playing, what you're up to, what you think of what we're talking. Just let us know, man. Just let us know. Chris said, my son loved Deer Simulator. It had horns that were guns.
Yeah, I've seen that. I also seen the one that was Goat Simulator. That one was amazing.
Simulator is ridiculous.
I always like setting off the nuke, because if you set off your nuke, your goat gets a Fallout skin. And you get the trophy that's called Kim Jong Oops.
Oh God!
And it's called the nuclear option, and I loved it.
Wanted Raccoon looks awesome. Chris said you sneak around stealing stuff and attacking people's ankles.
Squirrel with a gun is coming out, where you're a little squirrel with a firearm. That looks interesting.
Now, Farming Simulator. Wait, what did you just say? A squirrel?
I think you're trying to say relaxing, but the
Farming Simulator is relaxing. That is a very in-depth game. But you said something about a squirrel?
Yeah, squirrel with a gun.
Oh my God. I love it, man. I love it. I love all the obscure games.
There's Untitled Goose Game, mess with the honky, get the bonk, No gods, no monsters.
So the one thing I love about this Path of Titans game, there's a bunch of different servers, and I haven't looked into the servers that have certain rules. There's like realism servers, because like the regular ones, it's just it's ridiculous. This craziest stuff happens in there. And let me tell you, man, I never thought I would see so much shit talking on a dinosaur game.
Oh,
like they have
online markets are a weird place, my
dude.
friend.
They have a little chat bar. It's like they have got a global chat. They've got a local chat, which is basically the players that are just around you. And like if you're a carnivore, you can only see stuff from carnivores. Same with herbivores. But like the global chat, anybody can talk to anybody, right? There is so much trash talk going on in there, and it's so like you can point out which ones are like the little kids, the kind of stuff that they say.
Well, my joke with Aaron has always been these kids today wouldn't have survived an Xbox 360 Halo chat room. They would have been eaten alive.
Oh my God. Like I hopped into chat the one day when people were just going at each other, and I said, you guys realize we're pretending to be dinosaurs, right? Like
And you
this
got told to
shouldn't
screw
be
off.
that serious. And then I faded away into oblivion.
Yeah.
I just keep it up for entertainment. I play solo. There's so much weird stuff that goes on in there. Like people pack up and they create their groups and everything. And I like to play by myself. Like that's it. Don't bother me.
I tried to do MMOs, and I mean, like I said, I did ESO, I did World of Warcraft, I did a bunch of them. I mean, there was like Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah. Sure do. I've done 1,000 of those, and I mean, like, it's just not my thing. I'm a solo player. That's what I am. That's just, I've come to terms with it. I bought a PlayStation. I want to play by myself. I don't want to be in an, I had an Xbox for all the Halo games. And it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm not having fun. Hi, kids. Aaron. It's just not my thing. I prefer to go solo. That's why I'm big into like Resident Evils, Final Fantasy, Silent Hills, all that stuff. There's so much cool crap coming out this year.
Yeah.
So much good stuff.
So let's go back to that Jurassic Park game that's going to be coming out.
Yes, the Jurassic Park game is coming out. That looks incredible.
It's Jurassic Park Survival.
Yes.
So it takes place immediately after the events of the very first movie. Everyone's evacuated the island.
But you.
But the one scientist. And she has to try to survive. You got to make her survive. I don't know if you're supposed to get help, if you're supposed to get extracted or what. But it looks cool, man.
Well, the one trailer they showed was incredible. She's like running from like the Velociraptors to the T-Rex to the Dilophosaurus. She found like Ned's Jeep. And then like she's just trying to go over like all over the place, and you got to survive and you got to do this. I imagine it's one of those like get to the boat that's on the east end and you're on the west side and you got to be like, oh crap, dinosaur.
So do you think from what you saw of the trailers that it's going to play like a linear game, more like Resident Evil, or do you think it's going to give you an open world?
I hope it gives me an open world, but I think it's going to be more linear. I think it's going to be like you arrive at the scientist station. You arrive at like the kitchen area where that is, survive the raptors of this spot. And it's going to be like, okay, sneak around the kitchen because the raptor got out of the cooler. Survive the T-Rex is still stomping around, try to avoid him. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're going to make it more linear, but I hope that it's like an open world. Because if it's a true open world and it's a survival game, I think that makes it scarier because you don't know what's around the next corner. Like you still have to hit certain points to progress, but you can still wander and do whatever you want. And I'm really hoping for that. Chris said, I like the Jurassic World game. It's a new twist on Dino Park Tycoon. That's exactly how I found this game. I was looking at the Jurassic World Evolution game because I remembered, Dino Park Tycoon. I'm like, I want to play something a little bit different. And we were talking about Dino Park Tycoon one day, and I'm like, Evolution's supposed to be like that. So I looked that up, and then I found this game, and I saw the trailer for it, and I'm like so stoked for it. I'm so excited. I just can't. I can't wait. Because I used to like the Jurassic Park games from when I was a kid. I had one on Sega Game Gear. You remember Game Gear, right? You remember Sega Game Gear.
I do.
It was so much fun. But yeah, I had that one on Sega Game Gear. And then I had another one, I think, on Sega Genesis. But they were fun games.
I remember the big conspiracy theories with it because they let you see a map. And there were certain parts of Jurassic Park they never let us go to. One of the big ones was like the ocean water one where they were supposed to be, you got to see like, I think it was, what the hell's Nessie? A plesiosaurus?
Yeah.
A plesiosaurus supposed to be there. There's supposed to be like talks of a megalodon was supposed to be there. That even in like when Ned's taking out the things, putting them in the Cool Whip container, the shaving cream, Barbasol cans, there is one that said, I think it was like Megalodon or it said like Plesiosaurus on there. And it always upset me that like never in the games, never in the movies, never on anything did they ever touch on like actually going to like the water parts. I mean, yeah, and in the world they had the Mosasaurus kind of thing come up. That was kind of cool. But like, I don't know. I wanted to see the like the Plesiosaur and all that.
That would have been cool.
I know
think
it's in the arcades, but that's a different take. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I think the one thing that I found really cool about the trailer is when they're going through and showing you all of this, it's so accurate to the first movie. Everything looks like it's left right how it was when they all, left. The cars are still where they were when they bailed because of the T-Rex. The poster is down in front of the main
Dinosaurs rule
visitor
the
center
world.
there. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it looks so good. I can't wait. I can't wait to see another trailer. I want to see more gameplay. I hope the gameplay's not stiff.
I'm sure it's not. They've had time to work on it. And Jurassic Park is one of those things where it's, one of those games and the movies and the pop culture that spans generations. Like, if you have kids, it's one of those movies eventually you show your kids Jurassic Park and they either fall absolutely in love with it and they're like, it's okay. Or they're like, I love everything. And you as getting older can sit down and be like, yeah, I remember this, right? Going to see Lost World in theaters, where it takes place in the same islands as the first one. And like when they go back to like the garage with the dust covered Jeeps and the thermal goggles. And I said, cool. That's such a cool tip of the hat to the first movie. And that T-Rex is the original. She's the original T-Rex from the first movie.
Yeah.
And that's a cool part too, where they're like, they recaptured her and all this stuff. And like, it was just like Tim's thermal goggles were in the Jeep and like the 97 Ranger, the Wrangler Jeep that you see there. It's just a cool, like, nostalgia. Every once in a while in Honesdale, there's somebody that has one of the Jeeps that they drive around with, and they're like, yeah, I was one of those people. I'm like, can I get my picture? And he's like, yeah, I get asked all the time. You can. And I'm like, it was such a big part of like growing up in the 90s and like seeing like Jurassic Park, The Lost World, that God awful 3 one that we don't talk about. And like how incredible, like that was like one of the first books that like I binged was The Lost World by, I think it was Michael Crichton wrote it.
Yeah.
And that was like incredible to be like, that really was this pop culture phenomenon that I don't know if Spielberg ever thought it was going to be as big as it did. And if you read the movie about that, they had absolutely every trouble they could with that movie with the T-Rex was during that was an actual like tropical storm they were in filming. And when they had that T-Rex going, it started shaking because it wasn't supposed to get wet. Well, you can't stop like hurricane winds and water from hitting it. So they're like drying it off and they're doing their best. That scene where Tim and Lex are bracing for the thing where it crashes down, that glass wasn't supposed to come out. It was just supposed to stop at the glass.
Oh.
So when the T-Rex's mouth hits and the glass falls on them, those kids screaming is really their like terrified screams because that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah,
the T-Rex was just supposed to stop at the glass. It wasn't supposed to stop at, but Spielberg loved it. And that like that high-pitched scream that like Lex gives, and she's like, like that really was her response to that. It's a little fun trivia too with Die Hard when they're getting ready to chuck what's his face up Hans Gruber up the Nakatomi building, and they have him up there, and they said, "Okay, we're gonna drop you on 3, so he could brace for it." They did 1, and then they dropped him. So when you see that terrified look on his face going back, that's actually his real thing because he didn't have time to brace for it.
Still not a Christmas movie, but yeah, that Jurassic Park was ahead of its time. It really was. It was way ahead of its time. When you see the
million years in the making.
Yeah, the CG in that movie, it's so good. They did such a great job with that. All right, we can move on. We can cover Aaron's comment here.
Switch 2 just got
Switch
announced.
2. So what's going to be different about Switch 2?
Well, from what they're not telling us a lot, but they are giving us some.
Okay.
They think it's going to be around the $400 price mark, maybe $450. I mean, welcome to how consoles are. It's not going to be $200 if you were expecting that. It's bigger, it's sleeker, it's got a bigger screen. I think the last screen was like 6 inches. This one's 8 inches. The controllers are like different. They fixed all the bugs with it. It looks gorgeous. It absolutely does. Nintendo really is, and I will steal John Hammond, spares no expense when they release something. They plan on flooding the market with them so everybody gets a chance and the scalper market doesn't actually get a chance to get a hold. So that's I'm awesome. Actually rather impressed with Nintendo doing that. Nintendo does not worry about fighting over the same Call of Duty, Bone, Madden, all those games. They're not worried about that. what Nintendo focuses on is they do something well and they focus on it heavily. They know Mario is going to make them $1 billion. They know Pokemon is going to come out on it and just absolutely dazzle and awe with that, I think it's Pokemon Z to A or whatever is coming out with it. They know they're going to sell 1 billion copies because they took their time with this one and it's going to be perfect. They don't have to worry about, is it going to play COD? Is it going to play Madden? Is it going to play these other games, Fortnite? They don't care because they don't need to care.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the library. The new Fire Emblem that's going to come out for it is probably going to be incredible, and they will do a Fire Emblem because it makes them $1 billion. There's talks of them doing another big open Mario game again. That's going to be great. I mean, that library that Nintendo does, in my eyes, I am Sony first, but Nintendo is very, very close behind it. It's almost tied for Sony for my favorite consoles because Nintendo is just fun. This is going to go back to being the home console that you could take with you and it can plug into your TVs. And it's going to be gorgeous and perfect and amazing. I see Nintendo is one of those consoles that are coming up the Switch too. It's going to be incredible and everybody's going to want one. And Nintendo is going to try to beat the scalpers and flood the market with them. Cheers. I hope they do it.
See, I really like that about it. I also I don't play Switch myself often. My kids have one. But the thing I like about it is that it's a console and it's like having a Game Boy all in one. When I think about Switch, when I think about Nintendo in general, I think of them as more of the family game company. You got Sony PlayStation, you've got Microsoft Xbox. That's for you're going to game. It's for older people. You're going to game on your own. You're going to game with friends and whatnot. But when you're on the Switch, I think that's the reason they don't care about the Call of Duties of the world and the Maddens and all of that. I don't think it has to do with graphics, but they show you that they don't care about that stuff by not giving it that kind of graphics because they know what their audience is. They know what their consumers are going to be. And I think that Nintendo is geared more towards family entertainment.
Of course.
That's what it is. Spending time together as a family.
Nintendo's always built that with that. That's why I came with the Nintendo had a 2-player controller. The two, you know what I mean?
And you can't hate that.
Their first picture on the box, their first advertisement was a family together on the TV playing Mario. And it's like the son and daughter playing and the parents kind of doing that classic, Rockwell painting behind it. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The giant Charizard behind me that, on the poster that's, over on this side, they know all they have to do is slap Pikachu on something. They'll sell 1 billion copies of it. They're not worried. They don't have to worry about your, like I said, the CODs and all that stuff. I mean, did you see the video for the Switch too? Yeah,
I did not see it yet. There is a new Donkey Kong coming out.
There is a new Donkey Kong coming out. Oh, please. They'll have a new Metroid. They'll have a new Mario Kart. They'll do a new
Metroid?
Oh, of course they will. They're due.
That'll sell me on it. I haven't played Metroid in forever, but I loved that game as a kid.
Oh, it's going to be incredible.
Chris said him and his kids were playing Mario Kart 8 and Super Smash Brothers classics. And it's one of those franchises where you can keep remaking it and making it better with newer characters, and people are going to keep buying it because it's fun. It's fun. Are they gonna come out with any new titles? Do you know? Are they adding any titles or any franchises to the brand?
Of course they will. I mean, like I said, they just kind of sprinkled it on today. We'll know more coming up, but I want to be surprised if Splatoon comes back.
Yeah.
I want to be surprised you see another Castlevania come out for it, another whatever. It's Nintendo's think tank blows Xbox and PlayStations out of the water sometimes. And it's one of those things where even everybody says, what's your top 5 favorite games? I guarantee you a Pokemon or a Mario is in there. I guarantee you at least Mario 64 is in there, a Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Black, White, God pick a color, whatever is in there.
Well, so there's my thing with that though, is that they're always the same titles. It's the only complaint I'll have about Nintendo and Switch is it's always Legend of Zelda, it's always Pokemon, it's always Mario, and something of the sort. I just question whether they're ever going to do something new, start something new for them, because you see companies like Sony always coming out with new stories, new franchises, new developers, new everything. where I feel like Nintendo doesn't really pull that in. And not that it's bad or wrong, they just stick with what works.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a brilliant, technique. Like we're getting in like the Pokemon card section at my store is barren right now. I know it works. They know too. You don't have to worry about Nintendo. They do what works and they do it well and they don't have to worry. I'm not buying a Switch 2 because I'm worried about, like you said, like the new big thing that's going to come out for it. I'm buying it because I want to go play Mario or Pokemon or whatever is coming out for it. The new Smash Bros. They're going to make for it. Nintendo is going to show up to their own conference. They're going to show it off. They're going to show 8 games. They're going to blow everybody's mind. They're going to drop the price. And they're going to walk away. And then Nintendo Japan is going to go count its yen. And that's all it's going to do as they watch it pouring to the store. Sorry. They're not silly. They know how it works. What is like, and I said, like, you're like, if you're worried about the next big, like the next big Fortnite's coming out, Nintendo's like, oh, that's cool. It's not the kid that needs to be impressed because he already has the best toy on the playground.
Yeah.
My mom bought me this. Great. I have something that everybody loves. You're the kid with all the Charizard binders that everybody wants to trade with.
I would absolutely love to see Nintendo go back into their archives, grab a couple of older games from like the NES or SNES, and just try to remake them for the Switch in a little bit newer style, newer graphics, maybe change things up a little bit. But there are a couple of games that I loved back then that I think would be awesome to see now.
I know that we tried Bubble Bobble. It didn't work that well, but they went back to, you know what I mean? No, not every Mario game was a hit. This last one didn't do so well. Not every, you say even for Pokemon, like everyone was a home run. But Nintendo's also not afraid to say, yeah, that sucked. What did we do wrong? Let's go back. I mean, Pokemon Arceus absolutely destroyed it. If they did an Arceus 2 with the way you could catch Pokemon the way they did, they won. If they did a Mario game, there's a lot like, what the other book goes for. I have almost 2 full sets. Chris, it just depends on condition, grading, everything else. If you ever want to stop down sometime, send me some pictures. I'll absolutely take a look. I mean, Charizard and everything else. The problem you're facing a lot of right now is it's a little bit of a problem and not a big problem. Every 40-year-old decided to go home and find their Pokemon cards and trade them in. And we kind of flooded the market a little bit. But, Charizard, if he's in good condition, still goes for a couple hundred. Blastoise, Venusaur, things. But condition. If it looks like a dog chewed on it, I mean, it's okay. Bring it down. I'll take a look for you. I can at least get it graded out for you so you don't get ripped. Yep. Let it be known. I am selling when they come back in stock Prismatic Evolutions for $49.99. I will not do the $300 gut that they're going for online. I do not do that. I actually MSRP everything in my store. I did it with Lorcana, and I will do it for the new Pokemon set too. Nice. Let that be known, Corey.
You heard it here first, guys. You heard it here first. So I think what I would really love to see out of Nintendo is to see a new RPG franchise. I would love to see something that could be on par with not the newer, but maybe the older Final Fantasy games. I'd love to see them go with a traditional turn-based style RPG.
Xenoblade? Have you played like Fire Emblems? Have you played the Xenoblade Chronicles?
Is Fire Emblem like that?
Fire Emblem is tactical RPG, so you play to the tactic style, the gridded screen, and you kind of set up your, cavalry beats archer, archer beats fighter, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the stories are gorgeous, the characters you fall in love with, and every game has got its own memorable moments. To the point we see a lot of kids playing them in Super Smash Brothers, and they go, well, who's Marth? Who are these guys? And you're like, Ike was from, Fire Emblem, and this is from Fire Emblem. And they're like, what's Fire Emblem? And I'm like, one of the greatest RPGs ever made.
So maybe I would have to look into that.
Oh, you absolutely have to.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too much of like the old pixel style Final Fantasy games, getting stuff like that. Do they? I'd love to see something
a collection out for the Switch you could buy. That's all the old Final Fantasy games.
Like I have the old Final Fantasy games, but I'm just thinking like some kind of new story that I can get into that's similar to that.
I mean, are they going for just a fantasy story?
Yeah.
Just pop in a Fire Emblem and go for that. You'll love it.
That's on Switch.
One of them is.
What
Yeah, a few of them are.
What else are they on? Do they have any on PlayStation Store or something?
No, it's a Nintendo. That is their baby.
Okay, that is Nintendo.
That is their child that they will never let, you know.
Well, doesn't the Switch have a store where you can get older games from the older consoles? Yeah, I never looked much into that because I always let that be for the kids. I let them have that and let them do their thing with that.
That's your childhood in a room, my friend. That's what you're looking for. Yeah. If you want to play gold copy Zelda, like I just sold one the other day.
That's in my nice new Retron 5 that's down in my bedroom. That gold cartridge Zelda game, actually.
It's in there, but I mean, like, it's your entire childhood. It's Super Mario Brothers. It's like everything you ever wanted. Call me sucker. I like the control on the walls. I like all the box arts. I like all that stuff. I'm always going to be a physical copy media guy, and I think the younger kids are finally understanding that physical media is so important. And that a lot of this times, especially with Ubisoft coming out and saying, well, you're kind of not owning digital, you're just renting it, but you're okay with that because you already bought it. You're not exactly, well, they're like, well, when did that come out? And they're like, well, it's in the fine print that you don't read and just hit accept terms and let me play my game. Nobody's reading that 32-page accept terms and conditions.
Yep.
Whoops. Guess you should have. Because they got rid of all the DLC and they were like, you can't do that, but we can. You agreed to it.
Dude, I think about that all the time. Every time I click on that, I'm like, you know what? I really should start reading this stuff. I really should.
Take 5 minutes or take a couple minutes one day and read it. It's fascinating what you're agreeing to.
Yeah.
I feel like they could just come in your house, punch you in the mouth, and be like, hey, you agreed to it.
You told me I could, man. It's right here.
You signed the paper. You said I could.
All right, so moving on. What we got next after Nintendo? I think there's another game that's being discussed that's right up your alley that you are probably pretty excited for.
Capcom dropped some pretty decent news, and they did it on the guy's like lunch break, which makes it even more funnier. And he's like, oh yeah, we're going to remake Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica. And then he went to lunch and everybody said, what the hell did you just say? And they had to wait for him to come back from his like hour lunch to come out and be like, oh yeah, you already knew that. We're going to redo 0. And everybody said, who's it did what now? And they're like, oh yeah, Resident Evil 0. We're going to do like a remake, like 4 and 2 and all that. Next year, Resident Evil turns, I want to say 30. And there is talks of them redoing 1 again for like the 30th anniversary. So everybody kind of got all oohs and ahs and that's going to be amazing on that.
No, I definitely heard something about that, them redoing the first one. I thought that was already official.
Yeah, they were going to maybe do it this year, but they're going to wait till next year for the anniversary. And it's I guarantee you it's going to come in this gorgeous like steel book, whatever, because I'm a sucker for those and I can't help myself. And it's going to come with the Leon statues and everything else. And it's going to be pretty and amazing. And everybody's going to go, ooh. But 0 was such a great game that nobody really, I guess in my friends group, never really talked about it. Me and my friend Jimmy kind of talked a little bit about it. You didn't get a item chest. You actually had to drop the items and like kind of hope you remembered where you dropped it. Cause that's kind of be like, you know, and you could switch between Billy. So I guess Billy was kind of your Coke mule, if you would, about like dumping all the weapons and stuff in on him and then like going around and like doing this and switching off. And, you know, it's not everybody's favorite, but it was a good one. And then Code Veronica is going to be interesting to see how they do that one too.
Yeah, I remember playing Code Veronica. I think I played Code Veronica on Sega Dreamcast.
You did.
If I remember correctly.
Code Veronica and 0 both came out, I believe, or GameCube came out was 0. 0 was on the GameCube. Dreamcast had Code Veronica. It was kind of one of those, if you want to, you know, push our new console, here, go pick up a Sega Dreamcast. And Michael did like a moth to the flame, ran out and bought one in his local Sears. I don't know if you remember Sears as back in the day.
I do.
Sears, actually, after I got one, I begged and screamed and cried for my mom to get me one for my birthday. And she's like, okay, fine, shut up. Go get one. She didn't tell me to shut up, though. But, you know, Mom, if you're watching,
probably wanted to. I'm sure.
But probably wanted to. I mean, I don't blame them. As I get older, I appreciate that understanding now for parents to be like, wait, tell this kid to shut up. I'm like, no, I get it now. Anywho, That's where I got mine, and it was amazing. And it was like, oh my God, these graphics are incredible. Because you remember, we didn't have like 4 yet. We didn't have these other ones. It was just that being like, oh my God, look at Claire. She's incredible. And you look at the graphics today and you're like, that's awful. And I was like, shut your mouth. Like, that's gorgeous for what we had for its time. It's, you know, it was hard because it wasn't just here's 1 billion pounds of ammo. Go, good luck, little, you know, trooper, go. You had to scrounge. You couldn't kill every zombie in the game. You really had to ration what you're doing. You could show up to that plain, you know, tyrant fight and you only have like 3 bullets and a knife and be like, well, I guess I'm boned because I don't know what else to do.
I think with a lot of the Resident Evil games, they tend to do that. As long as you're playing on the higher difficulty setting, though, like you really have to understand you do not need to fight everything. You can't fight everything.
When you play like one remaster, you're kind of like, okay, there should be a clip here. Oh, there isn't. Okay, so now you have to learn to kind of like dodge and use your defense weapons more and be like, do I really need to go down that hallway right now? Or can I kind of like scrounge for supplies? Because it really is a resource management game to its like fullest extent.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see Zero come out. They deserve it because that game deserves a lot of love and people do not show it enough.
I've never played it, so I'm down to play it when it comes out.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that Code Veronica 2 with a remaster. And then there's 2 other games that were during the Capcom leak that they were talking about that Hunk was supposed to get his own game. And they were talking about 9 being the last numbered game of Resident Evil. Now, it doesn't mean that's the last Resident Evil game they're making. It's just the last numbered game. And a lot of people are like, well, that's it. It's over. And it's like, no, they're just done numbering them. That's it.
Yeah, why would you end a cash cow? As long as you can keep on coming up with stories in that universe, why would you end it? Star Wars hasn't ended yet. Pokemon hasn't ended yet.
Well, Star Wars is doing everything power to kill itself, but let's not go there.
Aren't they coming out with something else now too?
Well, Star Wars is finally realizing, hey, what we're doing doesn't work, so let's do something else. I don't know. Maybe let, you know, John and Dave Filoni and Favreau actually like, I don't know, do what they were supposed to do and make good stories and not worry about pushing agendas or whatever they're doing. I don't know. But it's like, just tell a story that's good. You don't have to sit there and, you know, get on your soapbox and whatever. It's an incredible
seems to do that anymore.
And like, I would love to see like a Knights of the Old Republic remake. I would love to see Star Wars like when they had like Jedi Survivor, or they did like what was the last one they did? Like with the what the hell is it? It's the kid with the little droid on his back.
Not the Mandalorian one, is it? Oh, I don't know. I don't know much about the Star Wars universe. I stopped paying attention. I was just told that there's a new one coming out. So
yeah, I mean, there's Skeleton Crew. That's pretty good right now.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited for that because, I mean, there's like a couple new Star Wars things that are popping up in my universe with like a new board game, new card games, new stuff like that. So everyone's kind of excited for that to see how that does.
I got interested when I got excited when I heard you say that Universes has put out their solo leveling set now.
Well, I'm going to brag about it. They're coming. I think they're coming down again pretty soon to do something with when the Critical Role set comes out. But yeah, the solo leveling box just dropped. And if you're big into that anime, the cards look gorgeous. Everybody's really excited for it. The cards were pretty great, and I actually had somebody crack an $80 card out of their pack. So I'm like, well,
nice.
I'm gonna start like when we kick off. I will I will solicit a little bit on here for us when we start doing our own show. I don't mind showing off the other games where everybody wants to see like Pokemon packs being cracked open. I don't mind showing off universes. I had a kid crack a couple $1,000 card out of that set. You know what I mean? So
that's crazy.
It is crazy. It's like, instead of watching another kid crack another 151 pack and pull absolutely nothing, Universes has been striking gold. And it's one of those games that gets played in here where I'll have like a bunch of kids playing like Magic or Pokemon on their table. And then they turn around and watch Universes kids playing. Like, what are you playing that you guys are having such fun with? I keep hearing Godzilla versus Ryu versus like the guy from Solo Leveling versus, Tekken versus like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, well, it's Universes, guys. Like, that's the different Universes fighting system. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right now, I have Tekken Solo Leveling and Attack on Titan on set with Critical Role coming out. Ninja Turtles is going to drop later on this year. Everybody's excited for that one. Guilty
Turtles
Gear
drop is going to be cool.
Yeah, Guilty Gear is dropping on it. That's going to be nuts. I haven't heard from Guilty Gear in forever. I was like, what? You know, that was a big drop. I mean, they said to me, and I don't know if I'm, you know, this is not the last time we've seen Godzilla. I can't wait to see more Godzilla. That's going to be incredible.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see that. I mean, the original sets, I mean, I just got the sleeves and the play mats and they sell out immediately. Who doesn't love Godzilla?
Right. Yeah. Seriously. That'd be a cool game to develop, wouldn't it? Some kind of new Godzilla game.
I could absolutely see them doing that.
That would be dope.
I mean,
but yeah, so
they did $1 billion with that.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. Solo Leveling too. I'm on episode 2 of the new season. I'm keeping up with it. It's so good.
Solo Leveling is doing a lot better than they expect it to do. You can definitely tell it's huge. I mean, even in here they talk about it all the time. Like, did you see the last? I'm like, yeah. I'm only on episode 4, guys. Like, don't ruin it. Yep. But it's really good. And I mean, like, I went through 2 cases of that set already. I had to get a 3rd case. And that's already half empty. So, I mean,
popular. I believe it. But yeah, it makes me want to rewatch it again. Like, it's so good.
I'm excited.
I love that you do so much different stuff down there.
You have to. Yeah. The Resident Evil board games I'm getting back in stock, I think early next week.
Cool.
Those are incredible. And I mean, they come with the little figures you can paint. And it's pretty amazing if you want to go back into that. Mario came out with a board game that's like the game of life, but it's Mario. Like, that's nuts. Hi there.
Hi. Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of cool stuff happening this year in the world of gaming, and it's gonna be not just like video gaming. It's gonna be a lot of everything that's gonna be, you know, incredible. Universe is gonna do amazing things. Every set they've dropped, everybody said wow, and they said that's just what we're gonna tell you for right now. There's a whole second chunk we're not even gonna discuss later on, and so help me God if they do One Punch Man, that's gonna be incredible. I mean, Pokemon's new set drops this weekend. That's going to be huge. That Prismatic Evolutions drops.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a game all into its own where it's like, it's incredible with a great system behind it. You know, this year, you know, Warhammer's got 1,000 new models coming out that everybody's excited for. Disney Lorcana's coming out with its new set, I believe. What else is like everybody's doing everything right now. It's just crazy.
Well, it's nice to see popularity of the tabletop games and the trading card games all on the rise now too, giving people something different to do.
Well, I bought this game for $70. I got a third of it. I have to wait a couple months to get another third. And then I have to wait again for something else to come out for it. And then it's another $40. And everybody's like, well, great. I just spent like $200 and I feel like I got nothing out of it. Where I've had kids come down here and he's like, I'm burned out of the Xbox. What are you guys doing down here? And I show them like Warhammer or D&D. And I always said Dungeons and Dragons is always that game that even like families can get into. It would have like parents take back family game night, go get a D&D book and everybody sit around and like, you know, play a fun story together.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I've always wanted to get into it, but I always felt like I never had any time for it. But that might do it. That might be a good way to get into it and have some fun with it.
You don't have to create a 7-hour story. You can just, if you only have a few hours, I have one couple that comes in with their kids and they're like every Friday and I think Thursday and Friday night, they do a quick 2-hour session. That's cool. Like after dinner, the family game night gets around and they do a board game or they do D&D and they're like absolutely have a blast doing it. It's like, she's like, I really want to get back into more than just my kids staring at a cell phone. Or it's everybody just sitting on the couch staring at the cell phone, the TV on. She's like, let's do something together. Let's kind of get back to that. And I said, well, board games are here. D&D's here. Why not? Or hook up the new Switch. Go grab 2 controllers. Get Mario Kart going again. That game's incredible.
Yeah. All good ideas. Yeah, I think I got to change a lot of things this year. So I got a lot of ideas now.
Well, I'm here. You know where to find me.
I absolutely do. Is there anything else that's been sitting on your mind that you want to chat about before we head out for the night?
Sucks the Packers lost. I don't know.
Mike, I never would have pegged you for a football fan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Never would have known.
Yeah. Aaron and I used to talk all the time when he used to stop down at GameStop back in the day.
But a Packers fan, huh?
Yeah.
How'd that start?
Go Pack Go.
There you go. All right. We good for tonight then?
We're good for tonight.
All right, my man. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us, hanging out in chat. What are we going to do this every week now? We're going to do every other week. What do we got?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay. So we'll try to be back here next Thursday, same time, same place. Again, thank you guys so much. And until next time, we will see you all later.
Unleashing the hype man.